Hey everybody. Okay. No music tonight. I'm wearing a collared shirt. This is different. This is something a bit different that I wanted to do. Hopefully to have people ask questions and give their comments and their feelings, because I feel that communication is key in helping people identify how they feel and how they should feel. How they should feel about others. And I really am passionate about the fact that we as podcasters need to lead in times of craziness, in times of uncertainty. And that goes back to the to COVID-19, and how that has been handled, and how we've had to make do uh, for the most part through all of that. And I wanted to, I reached out to my good friend Mary Nichols, who has led plenty of discussions in MapCon in icon history, and as well as other places, plenty of other panels and such on diversity and inclusion and all that. And I wanted to give the opportunity to not only the indie pod community, but other people, who want to watch. So if you want to hit the share button, by all due means, please do. If you want to join us in the conversation, please, in the comments, tell us where you're listening from. Like it would be great, to know where people are listening from, and let us know how things are going on around you right now. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm outside the Philly area, and my guest Mary Nichols is outside the DC area, or I guess in DC specifically. I'm looking for a head nod there. DC, it's like right outside of DC. I can't hear. I can't hear, but she's somewhere in the DC area. And so it's interesting to see the different perspectives, and again, my goal is to always bring people together whenever possible, create communication, and create conversation. So I really, really, really want to be able to provide that, and hopefully learn, and maybe this should become like a regular thing that we do, because I think we all have different experiences. We don't necessarily get to pick how we grow up in life, and how we interact with people and the different cultures and things. And I was always brought up to celebrate the differences that we have. So for me, I think it's important that we talk about it, and if we're talking about it, then we can get comfortable with it over time, and we can develop further relationships together. So a Facebook user I appreciate says, Mary has been such a strong Black voice in the IndiePod MapCon community. Thank you. I'm not sure who wrote that. I'm gonna guess it's Anthony Hayes. Given that, Anthony, if it's you, can you, or whoever it is, can you go to streamyard.com/Facebook so we can see your wonderful face? Like Tim, I assume, is here in the chat now. We have quite a few people. So I've known Mary since I guess 2015, 2016, something to that effect, somewhere like in there. And she's just been awesome. It's been great to always, like, whenever things are going on, I would like to hear somebody else's voice. I always appreciate her opinion, and the fact that she says things that I can't necessarily say, but sometimes I'm thinking, and I know I let her know that. And I think that right now is a great time for us to, again, have these conversations, and not just go back to business as usual, because like that's not working. So without any further introduction, please give some super claps in the chat for Mary Nichols. Woo!
Hey there, everybody. Thank you for having me. I know, besides the way the world is already, that it's kind of wild and all that, but it's also wild that I actually see you in a collared shirt. I think in the past 5-6 years, I've been going, well, about 5 years, I've been going to MapCon, now IndieCon. I'm just here like, I don't think I've ever seen you wear any formal shirt. So that's an extracurricular thing, you know.
That's a Jennifer Crawford and Samantha Riley staple right there. Oh, there you go, Anthony Hayes.
Hey there,
Anthony
Anthony.
Mary, this is a cool lady. Yeah, they've been pushing me to wear collared shirts on the live stream. Oh, there we go. Like, look at that.
Okay, and I'm sitting here like you got the fancy studio lighting too.
Yeah, right. I just
like,
turned it off. I forgot I had it on. I meant to turn it off. So yeah, they've been pushing me to wear these collared shirts, and I just felt like tonight was a good night to do that. You know, out of respect of the topic and respect of what we're trying to accomplish.
Word.
Right? Like if you want to be taken seriously, sometimes a collar, like as dumb as it sounds to me,
makes it happen. Yeah,
it goes away. It goes a long way. So,
well, I'm always glad to be on. I hate it is about this subject, but I'm glad that you are opening up this venue for people to hear each other and engage in different things. Because as we know and are sure of, there's a lot of folks who don't want to hear anything. Unfortunately, they got to be stuck hardcore on one side, and that's one of the reasons why we are dealing with the extremely unfortunate situation that's happening right now. Anthony said that you're beautiful. Okay.
Apparently I am.
There we go.
It must be the halo behind me.
I'm telling you, it's a fancy lighting, It's a fancy lighting.
It is.
I'm just in my regular basement because I'm not able to. I had to hobble around to get this reorganized again after the past few months. So next time y'all have me on, it'll look more fancy.
Well, how's your foot hanging out there, by the way?
My leg is doing a lot better.
Yeah.
But there's still healing that has to occur. So right now, if anybody's looking on the video, I got a nice little fancy old people cane. I got a fancy cane for other things. So, but there was a period of time I wasn't able to walk. So I'm grateful for any progress that has been made, and hopefully, next few months I'll be back to normal with walking, running, etc. So
yeah, looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to you being able to come and give a hug at a conference or an event or something that I can see you at. That's
indeed.
Yeah. So let's go down to what's going on here. Why don't you start by giving your perspective on, like, I guess how we got here, and if anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat. We just don't need all the compliments about how awesome we are, but like, real questions. And if you want, come into the to the video chat. You can go to indiepodcon.com/open. It'll take you right in here. It'll take you to the green room. If you want, you can private message me or Mary if you don't want your question out, that if you're embarrassed or whatever. We don't have to name names. I know that this can be sensitive for a lot of people. So, please, any way you can contribute your question or comment would be awesome. So Mary, the floor is yours.
That's a big open-ended question in terms of saying, how did we get here? But I'll try my best to.
Well, let's say in the last, like, 12 to 20 years. Does that narrow it down a little bit? I mean, I know we could go back, forever.
It does a bit. Essentially, a lot of this has come down to what I personally feel is the denial that America is not the top country in terms of meeting its particular ideals, right? Like, it's funny that you mentioned the 10 to 20 years. Like, this year has been 22 years. Since I've done my show on the Fusebox radio broadcast. And I was commenting earlier this morning because it was on my mind. I'm like, each year I have done this show from college radio to now in the podcast era. I don't remember one year that there wasn't a big police brutality, law enforcement overreach case. I don't remember it at all. Like, the memory is a bit rusty, but I think the earliest that I can think of at the present is Amadou Diallo in New York City. So we're talking like late 90s-ish. There's always some type of national case where we're going through the same cycles, but the same cycles are occurring because, quite frankly, work is not being done. We shouldn't have to go through the thing of Black people, people of color, those who are economically disenfranchised those who may have mental illness issues, etc., dying by the hands of the police and not having any kind of legal or earthly justice done. And in a way, the biggest thing that's changed has been the technology. Like now there's literally HD video of people doing these things. And the progress has been made, but it has been so incremental that, things have just boiled up to a point where there's been this explosion. Like, quite frankly, and I can only speak for myself, as a Black American woman, it's tiring feeling that you got to be on edge to just exist. Like when we have these particular cases right now, Breonna Taylor was just trying to sleep. She was trying to sleep in her house. No knock raid happened in the wrong place. Person who thinks somebody's breaking in, tries to protect herself with her boyfriend. She ends up getting shot multiple times. We have the scenario now. Pardon me, I'm so sorry. Allergies are acting up a little bit. We have the fellow now who had a knee put to his neck for multiple minutes, fully on video. And somehow people are trying to excuse it. And this for what? We're not talking about, if we want to get into like perfection, which I hate that in terms of that having to be a thing for people of color. If we had to get into, well, what were they doing? It was like, A, they were just existing. B, in his particular case, you just had a guy who passed a counterfeit bill. What is it about?
Maybe he didn't even know
it was. He might not even know what it was.
Right.
I don't really
because
know
that's what you're supposed to do. Like if you have a counterfeit bill, it's easier to just pass it along than to try to take it to the bank and like get it dealt with. Because as a business owner, I know this. It's not a good thing. It's not an easy thing.
Think about it. Like, are you looking through all of your bills just there? Like, I'm going to go and market and do whatever else to make sure there's a 20 before I go about my business. No, and I'm pretty sure George Floyd did. But even if somehow there was some big master plan, why did that man not walk out of that store alive? Why wasn't there an immediate, not like, a lot of people's hands had to be forced with these cases. Why was there not an immediate investigation, arrest, etc., of not just the policeman who ended up being the one who had his knee on him and killed him? As far as I'm concerned, he got killed, he got murdered, but all the police who were around him, who didn't try to stop it, who didn't try to be like, hey, you're being a bit out of control. We could just, go through arresting or whatever and go from there. And we have these cases happen over and over and over again where it's like a life is gone, but for what? For what reason? And I think you have just that anger that has built up over the past, if we're talking about the 10 to 20 years, that period. But look at the world we're living in right now. We have people who are dealing with a pandemic, some of whom haven't been outside, depending on what part of the country you live in, from 1 to about 3 months. You're already feeling that parts of your life are out of control. And then this happens. The powder keg was going to be ready to explode because we've had multiple administrations of multiple political backgrounds not really take control of things and try to make a change, whether you believe in reform or complete, abolition of the police. Nothing has happened on that end that has made that big of a change where it's not like, here we go again. You have a lot of people, when you see these news stories, it's like, damn it, this is just the same. I don't know if I can curse.
No, I'd prefer if you not. Sorry.
Let me know.
I know.
That's fine. It's totally cool. I mean, I'm trying to, I want to respect your outlet, but the same old nonsense, the same garbage, And when you have that on top of the aspect of a person who is the head of the government, who in multiple situations has expressed no empathy for other people and how they feel and the things that are happening, we have the situation that we have right now. We're repeating the stuff like literally my mother and other people grew up to, with folks being mad and rioting, various people trying to infiltrate said riots and cause more issues than the issues that already exist. And a lot of people who are just really showing themselves in really weird ways. Some great, because there's always people who are, I'm not big on the term ally. I'm like, you got to be my friend, my comrade, my person in arms when it comes to myself and my people being able to exist. We have those folks who are out there and always out there, those who are at least trying to break these patterns of thinking that people in a power position are always right. And then you just got some folks, they're like, wow, you just are holding on to that ignorance like a gravity blanket. And it's crazy, man. That's where we're at right now. I see Anthony's asking a question. Thank you for asking, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Anthony. Real quick, I knew it was. I thought it was about 7 minutes that George's neck was being kneeled on. It's apparently it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds, which is like an eternity when you cannot breathe. 60 try to hold in your breath for 60 seconds. Like it's a long time, like underwater, right? Mm-hmm. So that is. I don't understand how nobody thought any to stop that. That's a long time. It didn't happen in 20 seconds, where it's like you blink and 20 seconds went by. Like that's an eternity when something's happening right in front of you live. 8 minutes, 46. I mean, Super Bowls are won in 8 minutes, 46 seconds. Tom Brady came back and won a Super Bowl with 8 minutes on the clock. That's an eternity. That's an eternity to be standing there and seeing something happen in front of you. Mm-hmm. And for somebody to not say, hey, dude, mm-hmm. get off. To me, I see it as something that this was just like all the other cases. It was clear, but it wasn't maybe clear enough for people to get as angry about. Right. And then you have this happen. And like you said, at a time where a lot of people are on edge and it created a powder keg thing. People were stuck inside. It's getting nice outside. They're told they can't go outside. People are getting sick. People are dying. Mm-hmm. The world's kind of upside down. And now we got Ebola to worry and measles to worry about coming down the pike here. To have something that's so blatant. And so, it's not really left for interpretation, what happened. And because we have video of many angles of video, that it's just, I think that's what is so impactful this time around. Or this specific case, I should say.
I definitely can see that, and I hate to even have to say this. It actually kind of ties into Anthony's question here.
Yeah, I'll put this question up.
I almost think that the aspect of people having to be inside for so long, in a way you kind of can't escape when you look at certain things and see certain things right now. You don't have the certain distractions of I'm going to the bar, I'm visiting somebody, I'm doing ABCD, because a lot of stuff is closed still. I think my state is still just in stage one, since I am currently living in Southern Maryland. My state is still stage one, the stuff barely opening up. So, you're stuck with a lot of screens at the moment. And that includes the news. So some people who might have just been there I'll just toss that off, or maybe it doesn't even cross their mind because they're living their lives in different kinds of ways. They're seeing this and being whoa, in a way I can't escape this. And with the way our media cycle is, with Anthony's question, I personally believe that the media promotes negative and hate more than the positivity and everything else because it gets ratings. I think it's really that simple. On top of the fact that on a certain level, there's a comfort zone in terms of the things that people show. Like when we've had this situation with the coronavirus, COVID-19, the Rona, whatever, you can't exactly put too much imagery towards that. You have, the worry of us collectively trying to be together to try to control a thing, but, we don't have viruses dancing on TV. You might have, people who are doing protests that literally happened last week, to various stories about people losing their jobs, people who are being ill, etc. And I think to a degree, people are going towards the imagery that honestly they're used to. They're kind of used to seeing the upset of what happens when there's so much Black death by the police. Like, it's almost kind of like a playbook by now because it happens so much. Let's engage in property destruction porn. Let's show the people who aren't, protesting calmly or peacefully, or, the most loud person on either extreme side or whatever else. It's easier to handle. It's not as complex as people would like to look at certain things. Like, our TV doesn't like really try to push complex ideas, complex issues, and different types of stuff. They like being, straight to the point, simple, because it's about content now, more so than actually trying to break down what's happening. And with these cases, I personally believe that usually Black America has been constantly vilified in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter what age you are, what type of job you have, etc. Remember, in the same place where this situation happened with George Taylor, Philando Castile was about 4 years ago. It's almost like, if we can just find a little something wrong, that'll boost our case, that'll get us ratings, and that might, quite frankly, keep people safe government-wise. Like, peace is usually not good TV. And it sucks for me to even have to say that. It's usually not good mainstream media content. Because, we do independent media, so we talk about anything and everything that we want to. So there'll be other stuff we'll talk about, but you might get like maybe 5 minutes of that on a particular station. And I think with this type of thing, folks just want to have something that's visual to show. Like, I'm sure that, you being right around the corner from Philly, that you've probably seen a whole bunch of destruction coverage or whatever else. Here, they're showing all the busted windows, graffiti, etc. But literally until today, when they're having, currently right now we're on line here, they're having like another huge, big, peaceful protest post curfew after they literally had the military in DC yesterday, like some real like wartime Call of Duty bolt garbage or whatever. I had to remember. See, I'm trying to keep it cool. No problem. We people just like seeing the meat of hatred just because they I think it makes people comfortable in a way. Like, people are just kind of used to certain things. And weirdly enough, I think when we've had this corona situation for the past part of the year, it's almost like the news cycle to me didn't know what to do when it was like people are really trying to bond together and be peaceful and, try to, keep it as cool as possible and almost be more humanist. I think people just aren't used to it. And I think that's a big thing we have to try to go on ahead and push. Like, America's kind of a selfish country in general. Honestly,
yeah, it is. It's
like altruistic things are used to it. Like, the American dream is kind of like, shoving somebody down and getting yours. Like let's
Monopoly,
be honest.
man, Monopoly.
Like, pull yourself up by your bootstrap, whatever the heck that means, and all of that type of stuff. Like, we're not used to doing things on a collective level, almost, except kind of co-signing the government doing nonsense because we're still the greatest country in the world or whatever. It's easy to say that you're the greatest country in the world. It's not easy to actually ascribe to those particular ideals, And right now, I just think we're at a very precarious stage where we got to push that a lot of that particular mindset is going to have to be destroyed, or this country will destroy itself. This isn't something that's been brought up by, the Russians or outside people or whatever else. This is America's illness that has been unanswered for literally hundreds of years, And I just think we're at a very interesting point where I think more and more people are realizing it. They already didn't have that uncomfortable feeling, because I know my experience is not going to be others' experiences. And I think in terms of getting the positivity going, on some level, we're going to have to push that ourselves. I don't think we can believe, or at least at the moment, push the media into doing it. Like you almost had to be like, we as individuals, as a group, and everything else had to be here. Like, here's what we're doing. Why aren't y'all institutions of power stepping up to be that type of thing? Like, we have seen that people can do all kinds of stuff in the midst of struggle and tragedy, but we, I think, need to hold media outlets, government folks, other people accountable by whatever means to show these things and influence people in a particular way. Like we're in a cycle of anger right now. And I think a lot of it is righteous and justified, but it's like, where are we going to put that anger? Where are we going to direct it so we're not so much reactionary as much being revolutionary in terms of building something better? Because otherwise we're just going to be going through the same nonsense again. And I don't think this country can take it. I just don't.
I mean, I don't either. Yeah, I don't either. I think, from my perspective, there's things only change like when they get really uncomfortable, right? So like seeing these cities like on fire and stuff like that and all that, it's easy for people, that don't live in the city to say, oh, well, that's what they get, and the people that got to live there are the ones that are going to have to deal with it. They're the ones that are going to have to clean it up. Like they may have been the ones that are protesting because they live there, right? So it's easy to like, what I mean? It's easy to walk out your door like and walk a couple blocks down the street and like do the protest thing, right? It's not easy to like travel necessarily from, especially right now, because like I don't know about DC, but they shut a ton of roads down as of last night.
Oh, DC has curfews right now too.
Yeah, so I it's I guess my question to you is when it comes to like obviously the protesters, I mean it's awesome, right? This is one of the things that makes us one of the great nations. I don't want to say the greatest nation on earth, but one of the greatest nations on earth is the our Bill of Rights and being able to assemble and to like to check ourselves in that regard. But the people that are destroying things at night, that are looting and like, I mean, I want to believe that's not any representation of what is supposed to be happening, that it's really just people that are opportunists, maybe anarchists. But I mean, how many, I don't know, I have a hard time believing there's that many anarchists in America that like and maybe I'm wrong. I have zero research to back that up, but I just have a hard time believe that like every anarchist was like, I'm going to drive 500, 400 miles to get to my closest city to like go wreak havoc and steal stuff. And maybe there is. I don't know, but do you feel that these people that are looting and destroying things, are they taking away from the message? Are they taking away from what's going on and what has happened?
I don't believe they're taking away from the message. I believe our mainstream media outlets are taking away from the message, quite frankly. Look at what had became the story. At first, it was about George Taylor. At first, it was about, all the other people who have been going through things before him. And then, like I can talk about DC news, like I think about a day or two ago, they just kept focusing on, look at this broken window at the Gucci store. Who gives a damn about the Gucci store? They got insurance. Yeah, it kind of sucks that certain stuff happens, but
the employees, it's going to suck because they.
I'm like for them, they might have to deal with some stuff.
To work with, yeah.
I'm about to say they'll have to deal with various things with the employees and that's a whole other conversation of how some of these companies are going to actually treat their employees. But
maybe that's another open forum topic for another day.
Yeah, but say that's a whole other issue in that regard.
Yeah.
But it's like this is the thing you're concentrating on. You're not talking about, wow, this anger came from a place and for a reason. All this didn't just come out from some, mystical ether and whatnot. People again, we're in the midst of a pandemic. People during the midst of a pandemic, after the vast majority have been trying to keep it control in terms of just even going to the grocery store or whatever, like, I'm
Seeing
pissed.
family. Yeah.
Exactly. I will literally go out here in these type of groups. We don't got no cure for this or whatever. I'm going to risk my life because I'm just tired. Now, there's some people who are just doing, their own super fun time going out, wanting to be like, I've been here or whatever. There are some people who are, again, they've been cooped up for a minute. Some of these folks, I think, are just doing it because they just want to go outside and they can, do whatever. Some people are doing it because they want to cause problems for the people who are protesting. Like, I'm sure you've seen some of the news items where they're like,
Yep.
there are literal, agent provocateurs out here, and it ain't anarchist. It's not anarchist.
Yeah.
There might be one or two, but it's a whole lot of white supremacists out there. People want to check out Boogaloo Boys and all these other types of folks. They're trying to make a not great situation a lot worse because with the way we do have our mainstream media cycle, you want to have people talk about, wow, look at these rowdy people destroying property. That's terrible. Yep. We shouldn't listen to anything they go on ahead and say at all because they're doing all of these destructive things. Because, let's be honest, we live in a capitalistic society. People are kind of ingrained in terms of thinking that things have more value than people. And when you put in racial, capitalism is a death cult. I've been saying it forever and a day. Like,
I used to not think that, but it's very apparent in the last 2 months that it apparently that's what we were signed up for and didn't realize it.
You're supposed to be a soldier for the cash, right? It's like, nah, I'm just trying to literally, again, another example where you're trying to literally live. I think people just had to look at the why of things. Like, again, we're only 6 years past Ferguson. We're only 4 years past a similar situation with Philando Castile. He was obeying the police and still got killed in the car with, family and whatever else. Like, so little has gotten resolved that, some windows are going to get broken. Some things are going to get burned. Some people are going to yell, scream, whatever. But to be very truthful, if people just only wanted to react in anger, it would be so much worse out here. It would be so much worse out here.
The amount of people I just saw in New York, from Danny Pena to Danny Pena, being out there in the protests out there, like it's. Yeah, you're right. Like they could just overrun pretty much anything they want, and if they wanted to.
But people overall, like, again, it's tiring feeling like you always have to find a way to justify your existing. And then you always see the hypocritical side of things on top of all of this too. I bring up the protest of last week because you had people going last week and about 2 weeks ago, we had people going to state houses fully armored with guns, yelling, screaming at the cops, law enforcement, overriding stuff, threatening people. Any of those folks get arrested? Maybe a scattered handful. None of that happened. Maybe.
And my question is, where's those people protecting those businesses in those cities?
Whole other subject matter, right? Like, you have that. You got a lot of cosplayer patriots and all that type of stuff, but it ain't really about it.
Right. Well, when you have the you have the DC sniper who's out there pumping the gas for people. The biker gang, something Angels or something like that, Hell's Angels.
Like
the
Hell's
they're
Angels
out there
probably,
pumping. Yeah, they're out there pumping gas for people. Like, that's legit, right? They're willing to put their life on the line so somebody can kick ass. And
like 2 weeks ago,
showing up with their pew pews and
they're literally yelling and screaming. They literally yelling and screaming to go to Supercuts and have somebody serve them at a restaurant or whatever. Yeah. What happened to them? I haven't heard any corona spreading concerns when that was happening or when people were doing all this crazy stuff on vacation or whatever else. You have people who are walking. The vast majority, since, again, tying to the question earlier, a lot of the peaceful stuff wasn't really covered. It was the acts of violence by legit protesters and, again, a whole lot of people who aren't, that went on ahead and got covered. Like, I don't think it's going to delegitimize everything after all, because look at all the states this is happening at. Like, so much has happened in literally every state in this country that people are uniting under a banner. We had the big peaceful protest yesterday that didn't get crazy in DC until I don't even want to call him. I'm trying to think of a name. The current guy in the White House right now, because again, I'm trying to respect your outlet. I'm not trying to correct.
Yeah, that's nice.
The current fellow in the White House decided he wanted to have a photo op at a church at a particular time, and the videos out there, the videos everywhere. Nothing was happening until that particular group of people decided that they wanted to push up on the protesters and fire tear gas and push people around and all of that type of stuff. It's like people want something violent, like to the extreme, to happen, so more things can get to an escalated point, to be like, we're about law and order and power, so you can't question the police at all. You can't question the government and power structures at all. Whereas, the past few months, you've had a universal group of people who, quite frankly, have started to realize that they've been screwed for a minute. Like, you have folks who are trying to use a horrible situation to maintain and gain power. And I think some of the people who are infiltrating these protests are trying to be about it, or think that, with chaos, they'll be able to take over,
derail
or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who are protesting blessedly are realizing that, and are also realizing that while there's a particular spin certain individuals in the federal government are trying to push, you have people on the ground who are just there like, nah, these aren't the people who are doing this stuff. Like, there's some situations that are happening, but these aren't the people who are doing it. Is, vast majority of it are not local people. Vast majority aren't even the people who are traveling. It's a particular group of people who are almost like, playing, leftist cosplay or whatever, or progressive cosplay. And then, they're trying to, like, break stuff or do whatever. I don't know if you saw the thing on TMZ where they had two young white ladies trying to spray paint BLM on a Starbucks, and they got caught and had to scurry away. But like, it's funny to a degree, because I did chuckle at it, but it's also like, it's so ingrained in some people's minds that if we just vilify Black people or people of color or people who are just not for the nonsense, period, then we'll be fine. We can skate and do whatever we want. That's the big thing that has to go on ahead and be stopped. And I think with the masses in the big cities, I just see Lou talking about there's like 15,000 in the streets tonight.
Yeah.
Well, my best friend was actually just, texting me earlier about that, shout out to y'all around that way. And the other big places, like, people just want to be heard. People want to be heard. They want to be respected. And if it doesn't happen, I just think we're going to get to more of a crazy place. And I think the vast majority of people are keeping it together in their various ways. Because I'll be honest, certain stuff, I'm not mad it got broken up. I'm not going to say I'm crying about Confederate stuff being torn up, but I'm going to have empathy for the local business person who might not have done nothing, who had to deal with some nonsense, or the people, who got to work. But the interesting thing to me is, this is one of the first times in my life I remember hearing business people being there like, look, I'm not happy that my place might have had some broken windows or had, burnt or destroyed, but I understand why people are mad. We'll be all right, but I want to have everybody be all right,
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the main reasons that I love you so much, Mary, is because you want what I want, which is everyone to be happy and come together, and ultimately, like, that's I think what most people really do want. But I also think that there, a lot of people don't want to be inconvenienced for that. For that, right? And they don't want to get uncomfortable for that. Like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm insulated from this. I live in my bubble here, and it's not a big deal. And yeah,
But if you're really about the quote unquote American way, how do you think anything happened in this country in the first place? Literally, how would the country be founded? We would still be a British colony if it was just there like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
a
it's
just,
cool. Tax a
I'm,
tea, man. Tax a tea.
I'm gonna just go ahead and get along to get along. Okay, I am a disenfranchised white fellow who's not rich and has money. Who cares about a vote? Who cares about indentured servitude? The place where a bunch of people of color are at right now, the place where a whole lot of women in general are right now, including white women. History is messy. People don't like acknowledging that. And that's part of the reason why we're having some of these problems too. Like, I can say from my experience, one of the things I hate people talking about is being like, well, y'all need to get over it. How can we get over something that hasn't been resolved? How? How can I go to the African American History Museum here in DC with my mom and have her point at stuff, be like, I remember stuff like this as a kid? And my mother's not 70. She's in her 60s. You know what I mean? Like, we have folks who want to sweep stuff under the rug without truly trying to recognize that everything is interconnected and we're all interconnected. Shout out to the folks talking about Fishtown around Philly, finishing up a large peaceful protest. Because I saw some video yesterday that had me truly upset where they showed some people trying to walk around with weaponry and whatnot. So I'm glad to hear that. Shout out to my fam in Philly as well, and whatnot. We have to really just confront that, history is history, but history is a living, breathing thing. And we don't got to repeat the bad patterns of stuff, And a lot of that does come from what you were saying earlier. It's like, I'm in my place, I'm comfortable, literally I got mine. I got my nice crib. I got, maybe you got family, maybe you got, decent economy or whatever. And, most of us just want to live, our lives in our own shells and be quiet, but it just cannot be done. And when you look at something in terms of the realms of injustice can happen to anybody. And that shouldn't be something that you want, whether you just want to call yourself a good American or just a good person. As a good person, you shouldn't want to, be like, I'm just going to be quiet about this thing because this is a terrible thing that happened. Like, when I see certain stuff, like, I'm not trying to say that everybody had to write a big political treatise about why this is a particular way and why this is wrong. George Taylor had a knee to his neck. That's messed up. It should not be hard to say that. It should not be a political issue to say that. It shouldn't have had to be a big, culture battle thing. It should just be a thing that's messed up to happen to somebody. But because we are so divided in various parts of this country, people just don't want to even admit that, because that means you had to ascribe a humanity to somebody you might have never had to ascribe a humanity to. And that is a huge problem. And with a lot of these cases, that's what happens. Even if you want to try to paint somebody with, they might have been acting up with a criminal brush or whatever. How many other people have lived through similar situations and these other people are dead? They are not alive, Like, we're not getting into a lot of stuff that's complicated, but we're getting into something that I think a lot of Americans don't want to acknowledge, that not just because they're not wearing a Ku Klux Klan robe, it doesn't mean that in certain ways you're not contributing to things being messed up already. All racism isn't going to be, the Nazi, the Boogaloo boy, the Karen that calls people on folks just existing or whatever. It could be the person who just looks away when something bad's happening. It could be the person like, oh, I don't want to be bothered. Like, a lot of stuff happens in our society literally because it's not called out. Like, even when with the situation we're at right now with George Floyd and all of them, a lot of the arrests and other things are only happening because people are being called out. There's a certain general humanity that is not in action the way it should be all the time with calling out wrong. And again, things build up and we're at the point we're at right now.
What do you think about the people that are like, hey, this all these protests are they're all paid. They're all paid by George Soros, obviously. Like, you would know that if you knew, if you did the research.
I've attended protests since I've been
yeah, I
a
know plenty of
younger
people that have attended
teenager,
protests.
and
Yeah.
I have never gotten a George Soros check. I've never gotten a Bill Gates check. I think that is some of the dumbest crap I have ever
Mary,
heard.
you're missing
But
out on that money, man.
yeah,
You
man,
gotta get that money.
like I'm missing out bad. Like I'll probably pay my medical bill right now, from just being on
Yeah.
your show and talking about things. Um, honestly, man, I think on some level, because I do have to look at my life situation and privilege of having lived in cities and suburbs, etc., and the particular education I've gotten through the Maryland public school system and other places and just life. And some people just aren't exposed to certain things, right? Like this is me trying to be compassionate on one side of my answer. And we're in the age where people are getting drowned out by all kinds of information and disinformation, and some people literally don't know better. Other people, I think it's just a panacea in terms of trying to be comfortable with the way they're living their lives right now. Like it can't be that the American dream is a nightmare. It has to be that, there's all this stuff going on. It's a multi-level, Mad Libs
Marketing.
conspiracy in terms of why things are the way they are on this level. Like the government, can't be racist. The president can't be a part of the yearly pattern of systemic racism and so forth. Nah, it had to be, somebody playing Doctor Doom, like pulling all the strings and trying to do whatever. And I say this partially jokingly, but I also say it on the level of I can understand for some people that it's hard, right? Like we all have grown up in the same society. There are certain things that we have had ingrained in us, and some of that stuff we've had to grow out of, right? Like we are more valuable 9 to 5. We don't have to feel a particular way because society says so or whatever in terms of what our place is. But right now we're just in a really bugged out age where we can literally Google a ton of information, but if you don't feel like critically thinking, we start having these type of problems. Like critical thought is like rarer than seeing a comet right now, it feels like sometimes to me. And while I think I got a good diverse amount of people on let's say my social media or whatever, like we don't always agree on everything, but I truly think on important things the vast majority of the time we're on the same plane. You will have people who are just there like, I don't want to have the illusion broken about how my society is and the life I'm living. And maybe on some level I'm contributing to the nonsense that's going on and happening. And I think with quite a bit of the country, this type of thing is happening. Like we've had good presidents, mad presidents, and not so great of multiple political parties. The fact that we are at this particular stage truly shows how much people want to hold on to the everything is going to be fine mentality for me. A lot of people are like, as long as things are fine for me, it's straight. Like I'll try to find excuses when certain things aren't following a particular line. When we've had Corona happen to this point, you had a lot of folks realize that this ain't fine, and the voices that they were kind of used to ignoring or just being there like, oh, they're whining or whatever, that stuff is real. We're at a place where people had to be like, this is real, and we either have to solve it, or they're going to continue, being part of the banality of evil, right? Like, because again, all evil isn't going to be, the extreme people stabbing you up or whatever. A lot of it's just people being there like, nope, I'm gonna just keep moving, and I'm gonna keep listening to, this particular show or whatever that tells me these things, that even if part of my mind is being there like this ain't right, I'm just keep believing it's right because I just want to be comfortable, you know. Even if I'm laying in a bed that's full of bed bugs, I'm used to it. So I gotta be comfortable. That's this country right now. Wow, that LA coverage you showing is really popping off. And shout out to all the people who are commenting so far, I'm saying.
Yeah, thank you, Tim.
I
I
really
appreciate
appreciate
you
you.
listening. Definitely, and yeah, you say misses your voice from last year. Um, yeah, I gotta sneeze.
Sneezing is fine. Allergies and other stuff don't stop
Oh
because of
God, I know
all
it's
this.
been terrible for me. No, I wanted to show I wanted to show what's going on right now, just to give anybody who's not watching some opportunity to see that like this isn't. I don't know. I don't. I mean, I look. I mean, obviously, people have found like on Craigslist and stuff like listings, and who knows if they're real or not. But
Mm-hmm.
I tend to think that a lot of the protesters are there, for themselves, because they want to be there. They want to make a difference. They want to be a part of something,
Mm-hmm.
and be on the right side of hopefully history. Because I mean, it only history really matters if it makes changes going forward. But
Mm-hmm.
um, so where do we go from here? How do we like how what's some of the stuff that we can do that is going to make the level of the systematic, the institutional changes that a lot of people like I said, people, they didn't necessarily grow up around it, right? Like I grew up
Mm-hmm.
in a middle class, mostly white suburb, and still live in that house from 92 today.
Mm-hmm.
It how does somebody who doesn't get it, like how are they supposed to figure it out?
A lot of stuff to me comes down to the core of just being there, like the world is beyond me. It might sound simplistic, but I think a lot of it is that, like your existence is not the sole existence here of the world, And I think a lot of stuff is because I think in general, a lot of our society dehumanizes others. Um, Again, as a person who has been this all my life, when you live in that constant state of being there, like, damn, somebody is going to look down on me or try to do whatever because they're used to this stereotype that society has given people and they just don't know how to deal with that. I think the first thing is just getting out of that box. Like, maybe y'all don't agree at the end of the day, but you're not going to know anything else that somebody's not going through if you don't listen and go on ahead and check stuff out. And sometimes let's look at a situation as a situation. Like when we have a lot of these cases going on in the recent decade, you will have people who will try to excuse what they're literally seeing with their eyes. Like, like the don't believe your lying eyes thing is a big thing for a lot of people. And folks have to really go on ahead and get out of it. Because right now, when you saw the situations happening currently in DC, St. Louis, etc., where they like got military and other people out, multiple states that have these curfews and stuff, it shouldn't have had to get to that point for you to be there like, damn, maybe the system is messed up. Maybe you gotta listen to others. And also, we're in an age where we have so much information. You can check other stuff out than what might be your regular reading or TV and what have you. See these other views, pay attention. Hell yeah, you're on social media. Almost everybody's on social media a certain period of the day. Maybe you see a lot of people of a background talk about something, shocker to some, it's real. It's a thing, you know. It's like sometimes, you'll have folks like, oh, that's an excuse or that's the thing. No, if you have a lot of people talk about a particular experience, you might want to pay attention because while that might not happen to you, you should still have the basic humanity in you to be like, this is not cool. And maybe I need to go on ahead and check out certain things and see what's going on. Like I see a lot of people right now are going through, the anti-racist material and what have you that's out here and whatnot. Like they're self-educating themselves on various things because a lot of our school systems are varied in this country. Some folks did not learn certain stuff about various movements and what have you. And a lot of our country, quite frankly, is ahistorical in general. Like people got to really get into the what's and whys in terms of how this place functions so you can be that good person that you want to be in your day to day. I also think that in conjunction with that type of work, because I think that's constant work for everybody, um, if you want to get involved, like in whatever way that you can, whether it's donations, working with grassroots organizations and more, I think that's going to be a very good thing and a very vital thing. And also, there's nothing wrong with questioning how things are going in your local, state, federal, and national governments, and quite frankly, international governments, because some of these issues that are happening here are happening in a whole lot of other places too. Like the core of a lot of our problems with any of the isms and phobias and whatnot is that folks don't want to look beyond themselves. And that's going to be the first step towards everything. Like, it shouldn't always have to get to the point where people are having to shame various people in power institutions to make stuff happen. It should just be that, like, this is messed up. Half of this stuff going on right now probably wouldn't have happened if it was just there, like, we are going to arrest this cop immediately and those surrounding him because this is wrong. We should not do this, Like, we're at this stage where we got to prod people to do the right thing. And think about how messed up that is, right? Like, we had to do it with companies, we had to do it with governments and everything else. Like, it shouldn't have had to become a freaking hashtag and a trending topic where somebody's like, oh, damn, I guess we got to do something. Just do it, and be loud about wanting stuff to be done that's not being done and happening because, I don't know what people believe in spiritually or whatever else. As of right now, we're here. So we got to make being here the best thing that we can. We can't really depend on others. And, everybody's not going to be on the streets or whatever all the time, but you can be a decent person. You can call out nonsense happening. If somebody's like, this thing going on is wrong, you can listen and tell other people that's happening. You can have those uncomfortable conversations that you might need to have with family and be like, when they say something like, I'm not for that BS. And I mean it. So you got to have some hard conversations with people that you love because, I'm going to be very real. There's some folks I'm like, y'all are cool, but some of y'all families are, they're a thing. And I'm not trying to say that, you're going to be the person to go on ahead and change everything, but you're going to have to want to be there and fight for that change. That type of change is the daily thing that everybody can do and always have go on ahead and grow and spread. And I think with just stuff like this, like, don't be silent. Like, I'm used to people who are anti whatever being loud. But one of the things that have hurt the most throughout the past few days is that some of the people I've seen who haven't said anything. Like, again, it's a selfish thing. I'm fine. I can't be bothered. We're in the social media age, man. It don't take nothing. I'm not trying to say you got to write an essay. It don't take nothing to be there like, yo, this is messed up. And keep it moving. Or if you want to, engage in people who are trying to excuse, do that. Because that's going to be the only way that, you might get change going. Or at least have people who are going through it and are feeling emotionally drained and struggled or whatever to be there like, well, this person is not a temporary ally. They are my actual friend. They are my actual colleague. They care about humanity on a big level. And again, like, I think I'm lucky that a lot of stuff I have seen action-wise has been that. And it hasn't also been a whole lot of grandstanding, like, here's me and my colored friend or, some other type of deal. It's just like, I'm just a good person because, there are some people who do that virtue signaling too. And it's like, okay, it shouldn't have had to take tokenism or knowing somebody to be like, I just don't want this situation to happen to anybody. Because the way we've seen this thing going on right now with the military in various places and stuff, and, some of the rhetoric that's going on, a lot of people can be labeled if they're not trying to go with a hateful status quo. And I don't think anybody should want that, because I ultimately think that there are a lot of good people out here. I think a lot of good people got to be louder about their stances and, not be scared. And truly be about protecting others in, any way they can. Because again, otherwise, it's going to get way worse before it gets better, and we're already going through it. Everybody should want things, to be the highest that they can be. Because yeah, you might not be in a big city, you might not be somewhere else, but you never know when something can happen. You're seeing all this news coverage now. There's a lot of people of a lot of backgrounds who are getting hurt because they just want to, be like something is wrong. And I'm glad for the people of all backgrounds who are going out here and doing that, but it's gonna have to take more than just people marching in the streets and doing whatever else to get this done. Like, I believe it's gonna be multifaceted. It's gonna be stuff like that. It's also going to be exercising every tool people have. This is just one tool people can use. We're in the age where people are trying to disenfranchise a lot of people of a lot of backgrounds voting right now. I know people get in whatever in terms of voting, but I'm almost the type, I'm like, you might as well just be petty and vote and educate and engage in the educated vote, because people keep trying to take it away from you. Do that. Be on these politicians' necks about various things, whether they get voted in or no. Like, people have to push out with their own power, because we're the ones who give people power. We're the ones who give it away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
I mean, that's
I
why
think
we
it's been a
have the
while since
power.
Americans have exercised it. Like, when would that have to be exercised?
It does. Well, just like anything needs to be exercised in order to get better at it, right? If we don't do it, the lack we do it, then it becomes the norm. And then what was that thing that we do every year? We vote. That's the thing. I mean, the video I was showing earlier with the vertical video, that was in Fishtown, Philadelphia. And while I got to say, like, as much as I love seeing the people shaking hands with the police and hugging, I guess that was help me out here. I'm not thinking right.
I'm trying.
Preacher or I don't know. Clergyman. That's the word I was going to go for, but I was sorry. Yeah. So, as much as I love that, I'm like, I keep thinking like, oh God, I hope none of those people are sick. I really hope none of these people are sick and spreading this virus even faster and broader, which is a shame, because it's really crazy. It shouldn't be like this.
Like, nothing should have had to get to this point, and like I was saying earlier, I think that just shows how important this is to people to go out here and do all this stuff and go out for a risk. Because quite frankly, this is more worth it than the stuff that people were protesting a few weeks ago. Like, I hope it's not a spread or whatever, but I also believe some people are, engaging in concern trolling, when it's like, oh, these protests are going to be what spread stuff. A lot of stuff can spread stuff, a lot of similar things were going on, but that's the seriousness of all of this, like, people got to go on ahead and look at, if it's this serious, there's a lot more serious that's going on and that's been built upon for ages. Like, I'm a personal believer that folks got to get out of the binary train of thinking politically, because right now, when we're looking at this situation, everybody's being very loud about what they're into and what they're not into. You know what I mean? Or you're seeing who's being loud about certain things and who's being silent. You literally have some government officials talking about, let's get the military on anti-fascist. Excuse me? Isn't this a country that, like, tried to puff out his chest and talk about all the dope things we did during World War II fighting against them? But, oh my God, these people want to have equal rights or whatever. I don't want to hear that. Like, you were talking earlier, a lot of people are in a comfort zone if they're in a certain place.
Yeah.
You have these various individuals in power who are in similar comfort zones. They don't want to deal with all of this, because it means, for some people, it means they actually have to do work.
Right.
They actually had to do they actually have to, heaven forbid, care about the citizenry beyond a vote every 2 to 4 years, depending on what position that they have. Like, we were talking earlier about, capitalism is a death cult. people got to look at the fact of certain parts of American society. If it's not a death cult, it's making a whole lot of us sick. And work from the ground up and the grassroots up is going to have to be what makes the change, because this is not saying that there aren't, good, decent people in various parts of levels of government or whatever. I think there are, but it's going to have to take a lot of those people, and it's going to have to take a lot of us maybe pushing some of these folks to be, good, instead of collecting, their check and keeping it moving and talking on these news shows. And what have you. I mean, I know there's various, state, local folks or whatever who are doing their thing, but there's also some local people who are, through their actions, and some of them with their words, are just kind of co-signing a lot of this mess, or, trying to, sidestep, and then, not try and deal with what's happening in their own backyard. Like we saw, some of the situations in Atlanta where, again, they had to be shamed to fire these cops who pulled people out of a car for a curfew that they, that was an hour before it was actually supposed to get enacted. And, if people want to get on the race thing, these were black cops. So we're talking about an institutional system thing that happens when it comes to various folks being abused. When we had the Freddie Gray situation a few years ago here in Baltimore, it was a mix of people. We got to be like, the institutions themselves are sick and diseased, and either they got to change or they got to go. It's really just that simple. And I think a lot of that's going to have to come into play with us. I don't believe the ballot's the only thing that makes change. I think it's a part of what can make change. All this type of stuff that's going on right now is also a part of a change. Being constantly active within these various institutions is going to be what makes the change. Working with the grassroots organizations, like I know, in the past, you've done work with Hope Works and other types of, situations. Mm-hmm. That's the type of thing that makes a change. I belong in the unions. Certain parts of that are going to be, the change. It's going to have to make a lot of moving pieces constantly work, instead of being there like, I'm mad at this particular politician, person, etc. I'm going to do this for a while, and then it's all going to be over, and we're all going to be fine, because with the situation, as I mentioned earlier, Democrat, Republican, we have dealt with the same nonsense for so long. So the only factor that can push this change is going to be us, even if it's just a politician who just wants to keep their job. We got to be like, you don't make these changes, you got to go. Yeah. And unfortunately, that hasn't really happened like that.
No, I mean, that's a complicated, because there's so many different issues and so many people pulling for their own things and donating for their own causes to those people. It's a little more complicated than just one single issue alone to look at. But I don't know. As I'm watching the some of this footage, I hadn't gotten to see this previously recorded footage. I just am curious how this does this continue to grow, or is this going to peter out as far as the protests go? And will we be able to see that change that we're looking for?
I'm a person of hope and stuff, just because the way history's patterns are, right? There's always a rough period before you get to that next level of balance. I think we are in that rough period. It's just a matter of how long it can be. What's going to happen with that is just depending on where we want to direct it, because, let's be honest, some of these other people don't care. This ain't it. They're going to be reactive to what the people want and what they want to go on ahead and get done. I think it has been beautiful to see multiple people who are calling all this type of stuff out. I saw this thing they're showing the clip with the lady who's the reverend of that church. Shout out to her, because she was not having it or whatever, which she shouldn't have. But
what was the point? What was the point of that? I didn't catch it today.
Photo op.
Like, literally that's it. He just was like, "Hey, we're gonna go stand in front of a church. I'm gonna hold the Bible, and
I'm gonna stand in front of church, hold the Bible, look like I'm tough like and godly or whatever." Essentially
Like
looking
what?
like a big
Like you
goofy
couldn't even
toddler.
smile, man. Come on, man.
Looking like a
Like
big goofy toddler in the middle of, again, peaceful protests that did not have issues until they decided they wanted to go out here at this particular time as some warped version of strength, and probably something that we're going to end up seeing in like a re-election commercial soon or whatever.
yeah.
It's like, to me, the perfect example of this particular part of federal government is just the lack of empathy towards the regular people. There was no attempt to unify people, even on a surface level, in terms of being there like, this is crazy. We should just have the state and other people handle things. We might investigate it. Please be peaceful, and that's it. It automatically went from 0 to 100 on certain stuff. And I think because they had the story about him being in the bunker during the weekend when
Yeah.
they had the first
Calling
thing with the
everybody
White House,
weak.
like he was literally in the bunker that nobody used since 9/11. But anyway, um, you know, some people only looked at things in terms of a warped version of strength, and that's these particular folks now. But again, it's a pattern that has constantly built up. There has not been a lot of reform. There have been some reform situations and stuff, of course. There hasn't really been institutionalized reform or laws or whatever, which itself is crazy to be like, yo, you cannot do this. And if you are part of law enforcement, because I know people are going to end up bringing up the good cop thing of whatever eventually, if you are one of these people, here's a way that you can report these issues and be safe. Like, we're not advanced past the era of Frank Serpico in terms of police calling out other police,
Yeah.
of
Yeah. No,
individuals just
absolutely.
being like, this is wrong. So we're talking about, God, about 50 plus years ago now.
I think I was
Just about.
60s. Was it
I think that was
60s?
like 60s, 70s. So we're talking about 40.
He's still alive.
Yeah.
But
We're talking about
yeah.
like maybe 40, 50 years ago. Like, if somebody wants to call out wrong, think about how messed up that is. You have various police units and other organizations who are just there like, nope, we can't have you do that. Like, a lot of this stuff is happening because people have been used to doing certain violent actions, horrible actions with impunity, especially if it comes towards people who our society already marginalizes, which is usually based off of race and economic class. So when you had this situation, the fact that you had somebody looking dead in a video with George Taylor while they had their knee on somebody for almost 9 minutes, the only thing that you can think is in somebody's mind, besides the fact that, that's a sick individual, is that they're like, I'm going to get away with this. Ain't never going to happen. But when you look at some of these, other cases like Eric Garner in New York a few years ago, where it's like that was on video too. What happened? Basically nothing. It's a mindset that happens with a lot of folks in these positions, and that should be acknowledged as being a huge problem. Now, granted, the history of the police was not really about protecting people on a lot of levels. It's about protecting property, including, back in slavery era times or whatever. Guess who was property? Hello? Other folks and all that. So, but we
Yeah.
had to sit back and look at all of this. It has to be a thing where people can just be honest with themselves, because look, we understand that things happen and that you need to have certain checks and balances, but what happens when it's not there? And quite frankly, on a lot of levels, it's not there at all, or it's not there the way it used to be. I mean, we even have NYPD right now who doxed the mayor's daughter because she was at a protest. Those are the people who are supposed to protect you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. De Blasio's daughter was at a protest, and essentially, one of the guys in the NYPD union, doxed them over, just like, yeah, we got this, and they were at the thing or whatever. I'm like, this is your protection? These are your people? They ain't even trying to protect the mayor. What makes you think they're going to protect a regular citizen? Like,
Yeah.
people don't want to have to look at stuff that cynically and be like, damn, here comes a cop car. Here comes somebody by coming through or whatever. But that's the way of life for a lot of people. And if there's not a general humane look at that, this is not right, it's going to be a problem. And I mean, I'm not the one to be like we're going to be at a civil war or whatever soon, but things can get bad, and I think we're just at that point where it's like it could either stop in a semi cool way, or it's going to go another direction. And I'm honestly can't say I'm going to be feeling or pointing the finger at regular citizens if they get too wound up. I'm just afraid that somebody's going to take away the narrative, and then things are going to even get worse.
Yeah, as a white person, basically, I don't live in the same like mindset, and I feel like no problem. I feel like when if I was a person of color, I wouldn't want to go running at night. Like, I just wouldn't, like, because I feel like I mean, it was what was it, the son and the father that shot the guy running? Was
yeah, he was running to death.
Yeah, like that didn't happen. That didn't happen. That's it's ludicrous, and things like that. Like, I mean, one of my interns having to deal with like driving through a small town here in South Jersey, and being pulled over like 3 out of 5 days in that town, just because she's driving through because she's black. Like that's insane. That's insane. Like, I get, like, if she had like a mailbox dragging behind her car every day or something, like yeah, okay, like that's not right. That's like, I'm gonna pull that person over. But like, just to pull the same person over in a small town, things like that, like it just and so I mean, I've only had really one experience with the cops, and it was not a good one. It was not a good experience. Was not treated well. The people around me were not treated well. The cops were literally yelling at somebody who was who passed away, but was a mentor to me at the time, Guy Jones. He was literally standing in the line of people. Like, I'm at the cop car. The cop car the guy's like wants to pat me down, and he's literally standing, but because he's a huge black guy, he's telling him to get back. He's like, I'm standing, like there's a line of people, and I'm standing behind the line of people. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm already like 8-10 feet away, 12 feet away. Like, what? Like, it's just one, like, and on the cop side, like, I kind of get it. He's by himself, right? He's waiting for backup to come. For what? I don't even. I mean, it's a long story, but it basically it's a long story. But it was thrown out because I was underage at the time. Like, and I did community service. It was weird. It was. I'll tell you sometime about it, Mary. It was not a good story.
I was like, now you got me curious, but all right.
Yeah, it's a long story, but I ultimately, all I did was make people, some people, friends of mine, including my friend, and mentor Guy, think that I was being like held up or hijacked or whatever. But they didn't know that it was a joke. And then the cop showed up, and the person that I had answering the phone for me, we were separate. It's a lot. Yeah, Rick. I think Rick knows the story.
Okay.
But yeah, basically it was like 3 days later, and I just happened to be at the mall with that, because we were all at the mall, the teen center at the mall, and I just happened to be standing outside. Like, some idiot stole jerseys from like Modell's or something. So like, the mall security and the cops are like they're hosing them down. We're just kind of sitting outside the exit of the mall, and I'm just like sitting there, I'm like watching what's going on, like big dummy me, like just sitting there, like not thinking, like, I just had this big run-in with the cops like 3 days earlier, and then all the cops leave except for one who just sat there, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, not la da da da, like whatever. And then, but then they went and lied. They were telling the mall security that I placed a phone call to the cops while I was at the mall, and then they kicked me out of the mall, and they didn't want me to come back. And Guy's like, no, this is crazy. This is not what happened at all. But they just made up the story, and like the guy, the cop that wrote up the report, turns out later he had been fired from a couple of other precincts or townships that he worked for. So this wasn't his first
it was their first rodeo being nonsense.
Yeah. So like I was like totally destroyed. So I leave, and then I go to I go to Guy's house. I'm talking to him. Like I'm like distressed because I was volunteering at the teen center, doing all these things with these youth that were similar to the youth that go to Hope Works, all these years later. And then I go to my grandfather's house. He's like, "Oh, I'm not having any of that." We went down to the police station, and he's like yelling at the police chief. While I'm like standing there, he's like, this is ridiculous, like all this stuff. And then you see the cop that ultimately wrote me up on July 4th, by the way. He took his July 4th to write up the report several days later. So I've seen like the lying, the manipulation, and obviously not all cops are like that. I mean, shout out to like Travis Wolf and other, great cops that are out there that are trying to do their job. And so I can't, it's hard. And so what my point is that it's hard for people who haven't had those experiences to like even fathom the experiences that a person of color, that it could happen to you or a person of color. And that to have to not necessarily live in fear, but at least like it would always be in the back of my mind. Like,
I mean, it's
in the back of my mind now because I don't put a front license plate on my car, and I got front tinted windows. So every time I see a cop car, I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a right here. I'm not going to that. That's that construction up on the road where the cop's sitting at because like I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be hassled. It's illegal, but I think it's kind of silly, so I don't do it.
Well, like with your situation, like think about like your scenario. Like you went through something as a child. You're just there, like, okay, this might not be my everyday, but I get it. So that in itself is going to give you an extra of compassion in terms of being there. Like, damn, yeah, I've been, you literally been through some crooked kindness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, around a big city, like. There are people some who make way more freaking money than me and have education to, folks on my level who are like, at the moment, I guess upper working class to whatever you got to like do it to like other people. Like I know folks across the board who have those stories and more than one story constantly.
Oh, I'm sure.
I got the, we got pulled over around the way. Why? Because, there's people who have had, it's been some black folks, it's been some white people, and they asking the white people all the other stuff in the car in terms of what's going on, or them being able to get away with stuff, or some individuals who they're like, yo, I was in the car with one of my white friends. They talked real crazy to the cop. They were able to drive away. Like, there's no way in hell I'd be able to go on ahead.
My friend's wedding day. We went to the park. We went to the park to like Red Bank Park to like take photos. We leave. And and my friend's wife the friend of my friend's wife gets out of the car after they get pulled over and like gets out of the car and like starts screaming at the cop. And I'm just like I'm watching this like as I'm driving by because like they left before us, so I'm driving by and I'm like, dude, if she wasn't white, like that cop, she ain't getting to walk away from that. Like she's getting arrested right there on the spot.
So I mean, think about that. Like that happens to folks all the time. And when we even look at some of these news stories, literal mass murderers have been able to get pulled away free from the cops. But selling a loose cigarette or maybe stealing a Black and Mild or literally just existing, much less, counterfeit bills or whatever, and you dead, you ain't getting a ticket. You're not going to jail. What's, in some of these cases would be some very big extremes anyway, depending, but you're not getting that chance. And that particular part is always what has to be on your mind, because harassment and stuff is going to be terrible and horrible. And, you can run to somebody who doesn't give you nonsense, who, has a badge or whatever. But if things are systemically messed up, let's be real. Some people will go to that job because they can be messed up and get a check. And, act out bully fantasies or whatever. And depending on where you're at, you might be making some pretty solid money. For all the people who might be there, like, I got to file a report because something happened or whatever, and things go by the book and it's cool. You got the person who's following you around in the store, is going to pull you over and give you tickets for stuff, or worse, or beat you down, or give one, you nonsense while the other person gets to stay on the corner, act crazy and be fine. Like, we're talking about riots. I mean, we got literally every year of the NCAA, like literally to the corona, actually. Somebody's always breaking and burning down something in a city. You'll have people who do that if a team wins. But you don't really even hear about, hey man, y'all shouldn't do that. Let's arrest you and keep it going. It's good old fashioned fun, but when you got people who are out in the street being serious, and as we've seen with this thing recently, can be crazy peaceful. If somebody wants to act up, they go on ahead and act up, and it causes more issues. It causes that anger to be in you. It causes at bare minimum tension to happen. You talked about that, to this day, you feel tension if you see the police. Some folks, that's all the time. And you got to tell your kids that, hey, you got to be careful with whatever, but so-and-so around the way does not have to think about that particular experience. And if they have money, woo, they deal with that even less. There's a sense of unfairness, and the unfairness is a big part of what brings about all of this division with people dealing with these situations and things. Like, no Black person or person of color or person who might be socioeconomically disadvantaged wants to be feeling tense and crazy all the time, or suspicious of somebody's motives or whatever because of literally how they were born and just their current status in life. But that happens so much. And if that happens for somebody decade upon decade upon decade, the fact that people just want to live peacefully and don't want to, really burn this place down sometimes, I think people really sleep on that. I really, really, really think they do. Like, that causes a particular kind of mental strain that shouldn't be a thing, that should be unnecessary. But it's here. And again, when you see other people getting away with some of the craziest things and still be able to literally live, much less maybe get off, I don't know. Like, there have literally even been people who have killed the police who have lived. Like, I think a few years ago, then wasn't around Pennsylvania, they had some guy who was doing all these pot shots at the police for a while. They end up catching him.
Yeah, they caught him out in like the woods or something. Yeah, that was probably in 2015, I think, because we were in the area which when that was going on, because it was like up in like Mount Airy area, something like that, and we happened to be up there when that was all happening. And I guess he got to survive, right?
That person got to survive. The dude who shot up all those poor, people in South Carolina in the church, all those poor Black people literally invited him to pray. He got to live. Certain mass killers of schools and other places, they get to live. There's a certain common denominator with who gets to live. And that there's an insanity to that, or the story or narrative that's spun around them. Like, if I don't hear one more time that they were a loner, they might have had problems, they might not have been with a girl, all these type of things. Like, it's one of those things that people always joke, but it's like the dark humor joke of people, because it's how our society has been so much. And even if you're trying to be the person who goes the mean of the peaceful route of protest, like when people talk about Colin Kaepernick, remember a few years ago that people just pretty much called him the worst thing of the worst for taking a knee?
Could you say
Kaepernick? Kaepernick, sorry.
Kaepernick, okay.
My tongue got there. I'm just saying, like, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm trying to
think. It's all right.
Well, when he was doing his thing, like how he was being called the absolute worst And now, like literally today, you had the NFL just there like, yeah, so this police brutality thing might be bad and people should protest. It's like, all right, like that's a big part of maybe if people just listen, you can get certain things done. And some of the stuff doesn't have to be a lot.
I think it's really even if it was like, let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Play video games is an excuse that some people give too. I just see that in the comments. But
I know that is one of the dumbest things ever.
But now during Corona, they're just there like, y'all to play video games. It's ridiculous. To stay inside,
yeah, right. Stay inside, play video games, or watch Pornhub, and we'll give it to you for free.
Like we'll be peaceful. It's like okay, as somebody who plays video games and other things. So yeah, okay.
So all right, so like devil's advocate, this type of thing happens again, right? And there's video, maybe there's not video. I would like to think that this level of protest of on a now international scale would give any police precinct or whatever pause to say, if all this could just be stopped by like just arresting the person for now. Like, we don't know how it's going to shake out. We got to see the video. We're not the judge and the jury. Like, they like to sometimes take it into their own hands. To me, it seems like such a simple thing. Like, this was clearly an way overreach of power. Like why are you detaining somebody for that long on the ground, like in the first place? Get them in the car. That's what the car is for. You have it's not like you showed up on horses. It's like, well, where do I put the person? Like, I don't know. Let's drag them behind. Well, we know how that worked out as well when that happened in a year ago or whatever, where the cops were like walking somebody behind the horse. The optics of that aren't great either. But like, if you're literally, it's like, stop putting people on horseback if that's if we don't want to go down that route, right? Like,
yeah, I'm about to say that was a whole other thing where it's like, okay, y'all, even if y'all just want to do PR and still be messed up, it's like, what are you doing? But I think that's the aspect of I think. World's best case scenario, that does happen, right? That people are just they're like, we're gonna finally lock things down or whatever. I think it's only gonna happen if people push for it, because we've had these situations happen before. We've had international protests about people who have been, killed for literally nothing by the police. I mean, I think Ferguson's a great example. It's literally about 6 years now since that occurred. It's happened, but it's going to have to be the people making that continuous push for it to stop, because, we just got to be honest, man. If individuals wanted to make change, they would have made change. And, I mean, there's the body cams and stuff, but, we've still had these cases where some people just had the cams off or whatever.
Oh, it's off. It's off.
Like, it just happened to be off, and here's a battered body or a damaged property or whatever. Like, it's going to have to be us pushing for the change to be like, I just don't believe that it's going to happen on a mass level without it. Maybe a few precincts might do something, because I do think besides the general citizenry, I think there are, various people who are in power positions who do care, who will try their best to make stuff happen. But even if you want to be pro law enforcement, there have been law enforcement folks who have wanted to do things and have tried to push things through, and they've gotten pushed out or punished because of that. Right. Like, us as citizens can make change, but it's going to have to take us pushing those folks to make change, because I think that there are people who look at this as a job, and some folks, like any job, just want to get their check and keep it moving. And then there's the people who may care about the various, ideals enough where they're not, as an individual, going to be the bad guy. They might be cool cop so and so. We don't have a lot of cool cops so and so's, and there's some people who are cheats and stuff who aren't those people. So I think that we can get to that place, but it's going to have to take radical change. And I quite frankly believe that with quite a few local state governments, much less the federal, there's going to have to be people who be out, because I personally believe whatever type of political system or parties that you believe in, this federal government ain't it. It is not it. If you are not for dictatorship or potential dictatorship, fascism, or whatever, this ain't it. These aren't going to be the people who make that change. Not without a huge extreme, but even then, I think there's too much pride with some people for that. It's going to have to be us working from the ground up, and also when certain things happen before it gets to the explosion point, just pushing on people, man. I think to a degree we've gotten very lazy with pushing in terms of a big general thing. Of course, different places have different things, but in terms of pushing our elected officials and other people to actually doing the things that the people want, or at least having them fight as much as they can within their particular parts of the power structure to make things happen. Because if folks aren't going to try to tear down and destroy a system, you better get the right people for it. And on a lot of levels right now, we don't have the right people for it. Like, I live in an area where people elect sheriffs. You need to, give more of a damn about, some of these elections here, because some of these folks have been in various positions for a minute, and they're the ones who are pushing a lot of crooked mentalities. Like, I can't think of the old man's name right now who used to be the sheriff in Arizona.
Oh,
yeah.
He's got his own TV show too.
Yeah, I heard about that. But like, you've had people who willfully voted for that dude, or maybe that was a part of the thing they didn't pay attention to, and they were able to go on ahead and get their own agendas. Like, if you're not for, abolishing stuff, you need to get in gear with doing the best thing that you can in terms of going through and making these changes, because a lot of those people are the ones who are allowing people to run rampant enough. Like, you can talk about bad apples here and there, but there's a whole lot of rotten orchards out here too, and that has to be pulled up, from the ground up real quick.
For anybody that was wondering what that was apparently a stink bug.
Yeah, I was curious. I was there,
I jumped for a second because all I saw was it flying around, flying around.
Yeah, stink bugs are scary. I understand.
They are like, they're disgusting looking.
They're like big, disgusting, like cockroachy looking things. We have them here from my way too. Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Well, yeah, out here in the garage, like, because it's a garage, I haven't taped everything off yet and sealed it up, so it's very susceptible to these things. So anyway, let's go with, like, what final thoughts do you have, Mary, before you let everybody know how they can connect with you, and we'll wrap it up here.
All right, cool. Again, thank you for letting folks be on here and talking and stuff. I hope that both of us sharing, experiences and everything have helped out a bit, not just for ourselves, but for listeners. Again, right now we are at a very very interesting time, and one that could precariously swing one way or the other. I have hope and faith from everyone from the current youth on up who know things aren't functioning right and are want change and are working towards change, or doing it, not just the work in the streets, but what's going to have to end up being the constant work. We are just going to have to truly acknowledge that if you want this country to be the place that you want to be, we're all going to have to go ahead and work for it. We got good people in various spots, but apparently right now it's not enough. We got to go on ahead and push hard. It's not going to always be the protest on the streets and other places. It's going to have to be us either changing the people who are in the current system and or pushing them out. And overall, in the day, we got to be real with the situation that we're dealing with, but also remember each other's humanity. This is a very stressful situation we're going through right now, not just with the protest, even not just through the pandemic, but just maybe certain stuff in life in general. Like the 2000s have been very weird, it's been very, very weird. And I think that to not just go through this, but to be like, you will have days sometimes where you don't feel okay, that it's okay to not feel okay. And to try to de-stress and stuff like that, but to remember each other's humanity, get involved in things, that you're passionate in, including working and helping out other people. If you want to get other resources to learn about other folks, engage in that and do so. I hope it's just not, Blackout Tuesday or whatever, where people are doing this thing, do it every day, And if there are people in your life who are on that type of stuff, do the pushback. You might not be able to change them up, but more people who are decent and good and want to fight against nonsense and being loud are needed. They are super, super needed. Like sometimes we hear a lot of the darkness and negative stuff because, quite frankly, they loud, and some of them might have more money and everything else, but we're in a very special age where any of us can do things and have a particular platform. We're using podcasting right now, but even your social media page or whatever, this is jacked. I'm going to say that. I can get more in depth. Sometimes, depending on how things are, you might have to get argumentative or not, but just to be like, this is where I stand. So more people know that it is not a hopeless situation. We don't got to live in despair, that we can make it. Because even with all this, I ultimately believe we're going to make it. But in terms of stopping the bad portion right now, there need to be a lot more of us going on ahead and pushing. So through your voices, if you have the income, and there's some good organizations, because there's a lot of great grassroots on up organizations, help those folks out, even if it's just spreading the word, because, everybody doesn't have a certain economic thing, and that's fine. Trust me, I understand. Just doing the best you can as an individual and not pulling back and being scared. I think right now we're in a state where so many people are scared that it seems sometimes like the proverbial bad guys are winning. They don't gotta win. So use everything in your power that you can, from your own actions to the vote on multiple levels, to pushing your politicians and other people and plenty more. And just be straight, man. We can all go on ahead and make it, and even having conversations like this are part of that process, because we're in a state where I think so many people scream at each other instead of just taking it down and listening and talking calmly, whether y'all are going to agree at the end of the day or not. So again, thank folks for that. And you can't afford to be apolitical anymore. Lastly, if you felt like you were apolitical, you might not like Democrats, you might not like Republicans. I am personally a third party person. It's fine. I vote for whoever the hell makes sense and all that type of stuff. And I definitely have my strong beliefs on leftist politics, but that's another conversation for another day. Go on ahead, because we'll be on here for hours. Go on ahead and do those research and check stuff out, and don't always believe what the easiest agenda people are pushing. There are so many people who I know who have been there like, wait a second, Antifa is actually good. It's like, yeah, stop believing that it's just a whole bunch of people who are wearing an A and tearing up nonsense, Research various things, so if we're talking about them, you're at least, whether you agree or not, you're coming with an educated viewpoint. Because I think right now we got people who are being reactionary off of pure emotion. We got to engage in critical thinking and other types of stuff so we can make the proper pushes we want against the things that we're not for. So that's it. Closing wise, if folks want to check me out with my podcast, the Fusebox Radio, you can either just search for it through your favorite podcast app of choice, FUSEBOXRADIO, or go to our official website at fuseboxradio.com. And if y'all like what you hear, whether it's music, talk, etc., please give us a good rating. And hopefully next time I'm on the video, I will have this place more organized, because I'll be able to walk more. And that's that. So thank y'all. We appreciate it.
I hope you'll be able to walk more as well. Rick says check before you share.
So that too. Yes, please, God.
Yeah, right.
There are people who have been sharing some real wacky business or
Like,
some if it's like I hate whatever.com, maybe that's not your best news site or whatever.
yeah, right. Independent news, but
Independent news dot
like
hate. No.
corroborate it. Yeah, right.
or old stories or whatever, right?
Yeah, right. Oldstories.com. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Mary, for coming on and being a powerful voice and of reason and of of opinion, as I always applaud you for your strong opinions and appreciate those opinions. And for being a leader not only here in the icon community but abroad, outside of the icon community as well. And I just want to say I appreciate you, and I hope everybody continues to stay safe. I mean, I see here New York is still going strong up against a police barricade. They're not showing DC, so I'm not sure what's going on there at the moment. But it's I hope that it can continue to be peaceful, and I hope that it is continued to be de-escalated, and that people learn lessons from what's happening here, because it is powerful, and it should not be overlooked and or forgotten anytime soon. So thank you so much, Mary. Oh, now it's time to get off because you got a phone call.
No problem. Thank you for having me aboard.
I guess she had to bounce. Anyway, I thank you everybody for watching
and whatnot. Because I think almost every day I see you streaming in some way, shape, or form. But again, definitely appreciate you with this. Definitely appreciate you with MapCon, now independent podcast conference, which how the Rona is we will, and I think is super needed, and just promoting independent media in general, where people can freely talk about things, and it doesn't have to be like, sound bites or whatever else. You can get into in-depth conversations. Like throughout the years I've done stuff, I always appreciate everybody who was about that with independent media. Like I always say at the end of my show, we don't got to agree with everything we talk about or say, but if we spark some thought in other people, that's all good. So I appreciate you being a part of that, and doing all the cool stuff, and checking out more, the 1,000 things that you do. And I saw that.
Oh no. Oh no, I guess Mary, I definitely appreciate all that, and I hope to continue to be able to be a voice of reason and press other people to challenge themselves. The beach ball of silence. Yeah, I know. It's like that Family Guy skit. Like, what's it doing? What's it doing? I don't know. It's just spinning. It's just spinning. Anyway, I appreciate that, Mary, and thank you everybody for watching, and I hope to do more of these in the near future, because I think conversation is powerful, and I think that being able to educate one another from different experiences it's priceless. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to shoot me an email at joe@indiepodcon.com, and I will see you all tomorrow. I'm going to be with Scott Carson for Wisdom Wednesdays. I might pop on in the morning too. We'll see, because Wisdom Wednesdays won't be until the nighttime. Oh, there you are. You're back.
I'm about to say, I don't know, StreamYard got mad or what. Next thing they were just there like, oh, we might be having a problem.
It was just spinning. That's just
what
Rich,
like,
that beach ball of silence.
Yeah, let's take it. I'm just like, okay, StreamYard get mad at us for talking about things. I don't know, but
I don't know.
yeah, I was just saying, I was just saying, thank you for having people on and whatnot, and just using your outlet and just being quality independent media person in general, because it's supposed to be about all of us expressing ourselves and getting other things out there that mainstream outlets might not do due to either not having to always be yelling at each other or brevity or whatever else, getting in depth about whatever, including some of the more serious stuff like today. So hopefully I will be seeing you on your 90 million stream soon. I saw you had Ava on the turntables earlier today. I'm
Yeah,
there like, look at
yeah.
that quality parenting right
Oh,
there.
thank you.
And,
I
and all
appreciate
that.
that.
So
Trying to show her. She kept hitting all the buttons off to the side. So it was a little hard to do any kind of music set or anything to have fun. But she had a lot of fun and seemed to learn how to like control herself a little bit on the turntable there. So I appreciate it.
see,
But
there you go.
well, I'm gonna end this stream, and I got a few things to follow up with you, Mary. Everybody, have a great night, and thank you again for watching or listening.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.